Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy, do I have a surprise for you. I have on Zoom with me right now, Laura Park Lincoln, and she played final girl Tina Shepard in Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, and she will be reprising the role of Tina in Roseblood, a Friday the 13th fan film, and she'll also be playing herself in the upcoming movie 13 Fanboy. Hey, Laura, how are you doing?
Hey, Slasher dude, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I am so excited. We were talking a little bit before we started recording, and I said this is the first movie that I've actually watched out of any horror movie, and it was the first one I watched, and it made me become a horror fan. 6 years old, and I remember you yelling at me for it, so I'll consider that an honor.
I just couldn't believe you were 6 years old and your mother let you watch a horror movie.
Yep. Now she hates horror movies.
Look what it turned you into.
Exactly. And now she hates horror movies and I'm obsessed with them.
That's funny.
Yes, it is. So the first question I got for you is, how did you get your start into acting?
I got started, I think, the way most actors do. Well, I'm sure some of us do. I decided in third grade I was going to be an actress. And that literally was my path from then on. It didn't veer into anything else. So I'm an Army brat. My dad was Army. Nice. So I was saying to someone the other day, there aren't many acting opportunities on an Army base, military base. So I started modeling, actually, and I modeled for 8 years before I was able to make a move to LA, which at that time you had to be in LA, to act. And I just kept training and studying and kept working on it until I finally got out there and was able to get really started.
That's awesome. So we know that you were in Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. You were the final girl, Tina. So what was your audition like for that film?
It started out really as just a regular old run-of-the-mill Los Angeles audition. You wake up and you just hit the auditions all day long. And the casting director was Anthony Barneo, and John Beekler was actually in the first casting session with me. And I went in and it was a very small room. It was tiny, which was complicated because they had me screaming and running and looking at all of these things. Generally, they're going to pull out the most dramatic scene for you to do in an audition. And I just got all the way through it, and it was called Birthday Bash to hide the name from fans and people. And so I didn't think anything of it really until I got the second, I guess, a call back somewhere in there, and someone said, this is Friday the 13th, and I'm a Friday 13th fan.
Right. So
I didn't read the whole script. You don't usually read the whole script when you go in for the first audition. You don't always have the time to. Right. So I hadn't completely figured that out, but I sure figured it out by the time I got the call back, and it was weird.
That's awesome. And this is the seventh movie in, so it's not like it's the second or third film that you kind of have a suspicion, but you don't really know because it's not a franchise yet. Like, this is 7 movies in. Yeah,
exactly. And the way it was written, you had to have known the first ones to really be figuring it out. But heck, drive-ins and packing your snacks and going to the drive-in and watching Friday 1 and 2, best dates ever. So
absolutely
figuring it out.
That's awesome. So obviously Roseblood is going to be coming out. It's a Friday the 13th fan film that has you involved. You're reprising the role of Tina, and of course Terry Kiser is going to be reprising the role of Dr. Cruz. So for those unfamiliar about what Roseblood is, can you give us a little insight on what this film is about?
Yes, I tell you, it was an actor's dream come true, because I was bringing Tina back 30 years later.
Yeah.
So I had always wanted to finish up her storyline, and the scripts that came along weren't exactly that. And then Peter Anthony, our director and writer, pitched me that one day. I was just in my kitchen, and I actually got a phone call that I answered instead of letting it go to a message. And it was Peter, and we started talking about it. And anyway, it takes place right after Tina's hauled away in that ambulance. It takes place about a year after that. So they cast a wonderful young actress to play Tina at those years. And then I play Tina at this age 30 years later.
Nice.
And, you have to kind of do some thinking to figure out where she's been all this time.
Nice.
So that was really cool. We shot it in Seattle, and what a great crew. I mean, it was done as well as, if not better than, any big budget film I've
That's
ever worked
awesome.
on. That's how good this production company was.
That's awesome. And I'm really excited to see this. And I know you probably can't say anything about this, so I didn't really make it as a question, but I'm really curious. How is Dr. Cruz involved?
How does that happen? Well, it's hard to say because, we also have my love interest, Kevin, jumping in.
Okay.
Right.
Nice.
I don't know if you've seen those trailers, but they're pretty cool.
I did. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So, I was just, talking with Peter about it when we were getting started. And I said, I could give Terry Kiser a call and Kevin. And he's like, let me get to work. And he came up with a really good way to bring them back.
Nice. That's
Terry's
awesome.
Amazing, of course.
Yes, he really is. And he had so many funny stories about those, about the alligators or the crocodiles and the rattlesnakes and the wranglers and everything going on part 7.
The alligator wranglers in Alabama were, I don't know. I mean, I think the man was about 80 years old. He could hardly move. And he was standing by me all the time. I'm like, what is your job? He's got this long one, goes, I'm the alligator wrangler. And it's pitch black. And it's the alligator wrangler, like thinking, is that some 3D fake thing that's going to come up through the woods? And I'm like, no, they're alligators. He couldn't have got one anyway if there had been one right there. He was so slow.
I know. I remember Terry Kiser saying that. He said he was so slow, and he was like, I think he said he was older or something too.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. And we were in the middle. We shot the exteriors in Alabama and a few interiors there.
Nice.
And we were in the middle of woods, black as night. You couldn't see anything. And when they turn off the big portable lights that they brought in, I mean, it was dark. You can't see your hand dark. So kind of spooky.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy, especially making a horror movie, and then you have real creatures out there that can, do some more damage than Jason could probably do.
That aren't in the script.
In the script.
No. It's like, wait, I don't have an alligator claws.
So I guess, what was it like reprising your role with Terry Kiser? Because was the chemistry still there, and how was it working with him all these years later?
Even more fun.
That's awesome.
Even more fun than it ever was. We were just, I mean, there was no way for Dr. Cruz to come back in a sequel. It wasn't a soap opera. It was a Friday film.
Right.
So, Peter does an amazing job. I think that everyone will really like it. And Terry and I really had fun working on our roles. When you see where Tina has ended up, I mean, do you have any ideas, Scotty? Where would she have gone?
I would think that he would have, he was evil. So I would think he probably put some type of note that made her go back to some type of mental institution.
Quite possible.
Or maybe like some type of security facility or something that, like she's being monitored and surveillance and studied or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, if you've seen the picture and the poster, that chick's had some hard years.
Yes. And I know Peter, the director, I believe he plays like some type of, like, I guess, colonel or army guy or something like that.
Like a military guy. And it was fun working with getting ready for it, because I was like, Peter, I need Tina to look like she's been through some stuff. She's, she's not a glamour girl walking, through the woods.
Right. Her mom has been killed. She killed her dad as a child. So, I mean, obviously she has this trauma that's there, and
exactly. Trauma. And it was never her thing to be like a glamour prissy kind of character. So I wanted to be sure we stayed in that vein, and we did. And I'm really happy with it. I'm happy
I do have a question for you that I've been curious about myself, and a lot of people have been asking about like in comments on some of my videos. And I was wondering, Susan Jennifer Sullivan, who played Melissa, I heard reports that she has passed away, but I also heard reports that she is actually still alive. Do you know what the truth is?
As far as I know, she passed away quite a few years ago.
That's what I heard on the Crystal Lake Memories documentary myself. But I know that I figured you would kind of have the insight on that, because I know a lot of people have been asking that.
Well, I didn't know her family. So, I wasn't in contact with her afterwards. We all kind of go on to other projects and whatnot.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't have any other information that other than I do believe that she passed away
Okay.
years ago. And,
Right.
people are always going to come up with something.
Yeah. All those conspiracy theories and all that.
Yeah, I don't think
Yep.
so.
So those fans of yours and of the Friday the 13th Part 7 film, what are some differences and similarities between Roseblood and Part 7 of Friday the 13th? And what are some similarities and differences of your characters from both films?
Oh, that's very interesting. I loved that, we didn't have any kind of censorship or studio controlling the making of Roseblood, which was really nice. There was no one running around saying what you could or couldn't do.
Right.
And that was wonderful because Peter was very open to ideas, and we were all just able to play and bring characteristics to life, hopefully, of the characters. I think it's the same Tina. I think she's just had so much trauma to seeing her now 30 years later that when you're seeing what she's dealing with, we're not quite sure if it's part of her stress that's making things happen, or if she's really moving things again with her mind, if she's more control of her powers at this point in her life, or still a little surprised that she has them. I think we stayed really true to the fact that Tina chased the monsters. She didn't run from Jason. She chased it.
Yeah.
And she didn't back down, and she didn't think twice about anything. She just went after what she thought was right.
Yeah.
And I think we stayed true to her having that same energy. I hope so.
Yeah. And the thing is with all the final girls in Friday the 13th, they eventually get the killer in the end, even though he comes back, they get him in the end. But they all were running from him before they got the final blow. Tina didn't run. She fought back. She fought back. She was a different final girl.
It was so fun with Kane, listening and turning his head like, what the heck is this, right?
Yep.
Like, what's this chick doing?
Yep.
But it's true. And which is why I didn't do Part 8. Because I couldn't get a whole final script on it. It obviously wasn't the Part 8 came out. That became a different story. But I also, even at that young age, I didn't want Tina to be killed.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to bring back a final girl and kill her in the first few pages.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to wait this out. And
yeah, we saw that before, and we've seen how that kind of ended with fans. Like, fans didn't like that Alice was brought back and got killed. For obvious reasons, we get why Adrienne King came back and died soon because of her personal life, but nobody wants to see a final girl that went through all this trauma and killed the killer and then ends up getting killed literally in the beginning of the movie.
No, that's not fun. So that was my thinking then, being a Friday fan, and I'm like, absolutely, we'll see what happens. So can you imagine how cool it is to get to add some more to her story? It doesn't end it, but it adds some more to her story.
I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited to see this. So obviously you're going to be in 13 Fanboy. You're going to be portraying yourself. So I know a good friend of mine, Friday the 13th alumni, Debbie Sue Voorhees. I became really close with her, and she actually helped me with my production company and getting me started with some advice and that, which is very exciting. Nice. So
wonderful director.
She really is. She's an amazing person. Amazing. I heard so many good things about her. And I heard so many good things about 13 Fanboy, and I can't wait for this to come out.
I can't either.
For those that don't know what this movie is about, can you let them know kind of what a brief synopsis of what to expect from this film, and what can we expect from you in the movie?
The film is about a fan that goes after, we're playing fictionalized versions of ourselves. So, it's not really us, it's us in a little bit of a exaggerated fictional world, but we're still playing versions of ourselves. And so the reason I liked it is because it's about a fan who becomes a stalker. And it's as if the tables are turned on him in a way that's smart, and it's very oh, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. It's just a smart, and that's not the right word, Scotty. I'm not thinking of the right word right now. But I had a fan stalker for over 6 years.
Oh wow.
That followed me from house to house, to several homes, and it was a 6 years ridiculous nightmare. And
That's
can't get
crazy.
law enforcement to really jump on the helping bandwagon often. And he ultimately shot at me in my own house a few years ago and missed, thank goodness.
Wow.
And so I enjoyed the idea of doing the bringing her back and being able to stand up and fight against this stalker. But what I really liked about Deborah is because she's an actress herself, and she's just a very sensitive soul.
Yeah.
She let me do a few things with the character I really like. She let me kind of let that character lose her mind with all of the trauma. And I just know, I liked the storyline. I liked all of the actors getting to play in it.
Awesome. Yeah, and she brings back so many alumni from the Friday franchise, and even some that weren't involved, like Dee Wallace and Haley Greenbauer is going to be in there, and then of course we have you coming into it, and Keen Hodder, Corey Feldman, and all Ron Sloan, and like all these people are coming into it, and it's like so exciting, and I'm really excited for this movie to come out.
She's done a great job. Have you gotten to preview any of it at all?
I don't think so. I don't know if was the trailer released yet?
No.
I don't think it was, because I think I would have seen that. Yeah.
No. I got to see a little bit of the work print of some of my things, and I was really happy with it.
Oh, nice.
The work was really nice. The whole it just looks really good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Even my assistant Becca, who is also an actress and helps here in the acting studio and whatnot, she was even able to get a role playing my assistant in the film. So that was a lot of fun. She's also crew, so she was working crew on the film. We shot in New Mexico.
That's awesome.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, gorgeous.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see this. I was texting Debbie Sue, and I told Deborah, and I told her, I said, can you please get this in a theater in Maryland? She goes, Scotty, for you, I'll do my best.
I think she has 10 theaters at this point.
I think she does. I know she said she has quite a few under her belt. I don't think she really released any areas yet that I'm aware of, except for like the main cities, maybe.
LA, I know it'll come out around the 22nd of October.
22nd, yep.
Roseblood will air first on YouTube on November 29th.
Nice.
Yeah, and so that's really cool. I can't wait.
Absolutely. So I have 2 more questions for you. The first one is, how were some of the telekinetic scenes that you performed, such as the nails, the gasoline with the fire, and the television being thrown? Like, how were they filmed in part 7?
It was very much actually done while we were there. We didn't have the digital stuff that wasn't really being used. Right. So the television being thrown, tried a lot of different ways, and then finally King just got frustrated with it. It was on wires or something, I don't know, and he came and just threw it in front of my face. So that ended up being that one.
Nice.
I don't remember how they got the nails to shoot out. I remember the basement area we shot in was very small, and the fire was very dramatic and very close to me, and the magnet under the desk was someone literally under the desk moving the magnet, moving the matchbook. Right.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So those were really fun. They were fun to do. The stunt work was all done right there.
Nice.
Yeah. I got to fall through the scene from the 2nd floor into the basement. King set it up, so I got to do that little fall that was not that far, but it made me feel very important.
So how did when the house blew up, how did that feel?
I wasn't there when the actual house blew up.
Okay.
I was at the hotel.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I don't think that I was allowed to be there.
Okay.
They used a stunt woman standing right in front of it. Okay. But she was an awesome stunt woman. She did most of, I think she did a lot of the stunts on that show. But when it exploded, everyone of course was talking about it because it just splintered into a million pieces, but I didn't get to actually see it blow up.
Nice. Yeah. They built that house just to basically blow it up, which is amazing too.
Blow it up.
Yeah,
That was let's see, that was the house, that wasn't the house Tina was from, that was the house all the party guests were in, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I think so,
that
yeah.
was a separate structure, and I think it was just built to blow up.
Yep, exactly. Now, and it's a shame with the special effects too, because the special effects, like they were really good, and they got watered down by the MPAA. Like, what do you have to say about any of that? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I know that John was really, really frustrated with it. I didn't see all the special effects that were used because Tina wasn't really around them when they were happening. I went in later and shot pickup scenes, not in Alabama and LA, looking at more bodies and running in the woods and those kinds of things. So they were kind of done when I got there. So there were a lot of them I didn't actually get to see. So I don't have a firsthand knowledge of what they actually looked like. But it did seem like we were getting picked on for the time period and other things that were going on.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's really a shame, because I've seen like the very candid footages of them, and it would have been a lot, like if that was kept in, it would have made them so much more effective.
It would have been very scary.
Yes. So the last question I got for you is, obviously you mentioned it, but if you can just do a rehash of the dates and locations that Roseblood and 13 Fanboy can be seen by anybody that wants to see it, as well as any projects that you got going on that you want to plug, and websites, social medias, and all that stuff.
Sure, you bet. So we have 13 Fanboy on October 22nd. And then I talked to Dee about it last weekend, and she was happy with it. So thumbs up from Dee means a lot. Yes. And let's see, Roseblood will be November 29th on YouTube on Peter Anthony's production channel. It will start there.
Awesome.
And then I also did a film. I have 3 films out this year, which for an actress is like
that's awesome.
Christmas every day. I have it is, right? I have really Autumn Road, which I shot in a little town here north of Dallas called Denton, a little college town. And I really wanted to play it. It was picked up by Gravitas. So I guess if you go over, but Scotty, you just go look on there and see if Gravitas has a date for that. I saw it at the casting party showing a few weeks ago. And it's a very psychological type of interesting film. And I got to play a woman who was very, very different than anything I've ever played. She was very bitter and very angry that a child had been murdered, and she just pretends it didn't happen. So she's very, it didn't look like me, it didn't sound like me, none of my expressions. So that was just an actor's challenge for me.
Nice.
And then I have one coming out in March of 22, and it's called Ghost Party, but it's not a horror film. It's about a family of ghosts who come back for a family reunion. It's a family film. And the family reunion happens with a few live members of the family also. And I play a ghost from the early 1900s with tall blue hair, and I'm just like Miss Manners.
So is this like an animation type of film?
It's not animation. It's kind of like, what the Disney haunted house looks like?
Yes.
When you go to that. Yeah. It's got that same feeling inside. And there's only 6 of us, only 6 of us in the film, and we're on the entire time. So it's like a play that's a film.
I need
and
to see
this. I had a lot of fun doing green screen. I'd never been able to do green screen and like hop over cracks in the land. So that was fun to shoot. That's awesome. And the character moves things around with her hand and pours the tea and does all of this with her magic. So
that's awesome.
That was a ton of fun. So that was shot here in Dallas.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So, been busy. I have the acting studio, Actors Audition Studios. So you can go to that.com, or of course Instagram, Lar Park Lincoln. And I'd love to visit with y'all. Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Lar, for joining me. I'm so glad we got to make this happen.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Not a problem. The honor and pleasure is mine.
My pleasure.
All right. You have a great rest of your night. All right.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.